Hi, everyone. It is Holly Bock here. Welcome to Sonoran Sky, our weather podcast, and our series where we're talking about things you can do before it gets too hot in Arizona. So today I'm joined with Josh Coddington with the Arizona State Office of Tourism. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you about this because it's definitely been an interesting year. It's been a little bit warm, maybe warmer than some people would like, but at least we're not to the 100s, 110s just yet. And there are still so many things we can do before maybe we're just thinking of either being by the pool or being inside to try to get out of the heat. So I brought you in today so we can kind of chat about some of the things that are still available and are so much fun around our state before it gets too hot outside. So let's start with festivals because I love a festival. So let's start there.
So yeah, absolutely. And certainly, I mean, this time of year is a great time to get outside. And it's one of the reasons why people who are visitors here eventually become residents here because, you know, it's still kind of a crisp morning a little bit, but then, you know, during the day it gets really beautiful. And festivals, of course, in March are a great thing to go do. And the first one that I was thinking of sharing here is the Herd Museum's Indian Fair and Market.
Okay.
And so this one is going to be kind of in the middle of Phoenix. And it's been going on for a good long while. And one of the reasons why I like it is that it is one of the largest fairs and markets. So it's really all about very amazing Indian art.
Okay.
And it's not just like art that's there for you to buy, but it's also an art competition. And so it really attracts the best type of Native American art, the best artists. I think it's over like 600 artists that are there, have their stuff on display. And we're talking about jewelry, pottery, all types of Native American art, which you can look at. And of course, you can purchase as well when you're there. And they also have performances while you're there. And of course, food, which is a great part of every festival. And you know, one thing that I tell people not to skip on this one is they also have a youth fair, a youth art fair also. And that's for 7th and 12th graders for artists at that age to share their stuff. And one of the reasons why I like to share that is because sometimes people think of Native American experiences as being history or being in the past.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think seeing how the younger Native American kids see their experiences and share their experiences, I think really is something really cool to see and to remind us that Native Americans live in Arizona right now, and though we talk about history a lot, they are also modern people who are here and who are living right now. And so seeing the art of the younger kids, I think, really shows that.
Yeah, and I like that you pointed out, too, performances. I think that's something that really captures people's attention. Artwork, you know, lots to offer at that one there. Yeah. And you also mentioned good food. I know with the Arizona Aloha Festival, we're going to talk about that. That's one I've been wanting to try, too, because I'm a big shaved ice person. And I know they have a lot of good other food vendors out at that festival, too.
For sure. So for the Arizona Aloha Festival, that's at Tempe Beach Park. That one's coming up a little bit later in March. And this one, as you mentioned, performances. There are a ton of performances at this one. Very colorful and, of course, kind of gets you the island culture. They have great food at this one. Of course, the shaved ice you mentioned and, you know, teriyaki, pineapple. All the things that you would kind of associate with the islands. They definitely have that at this one, and what they say is you kind of get the manna, the flow next to the lake when you go to this one.
That's what I was gonna say. It's a good location, right? The water right behind you. Maybe it can make us feel like we're in Hawaii.
Yeah, you know,
can hope.
Picture the islands for sure.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a good one. Let's talk about one more.
So one more, again, kind of a performance-based one would be the Masks Alive Festival of Masks, which is at Pioneer Park in Mesa. And I share this one because, again, this one is all about performance, and it's a collection of many different cultures together in one place, and you see people wearing these crazy masks. And when I was looking at this one, I also saw that they have people who dress up on stilts, and so they kind of wear giant masks that are like this big.
Yeah.
And so it's really something cool to see. And again, all of these festivals, not the Herd, but the other ones are free.
Okay.
And the cool thing about it is that you see these beautiful performances, and you can really kind of connect with this culture.
Yeah.
And they all have food, of course, you know, and they all have performances and things for the kids to do. Also, even at the Aloha Festival, you can learn how to play a ukulele.
Very cool.
Yeah. Or they say you can bring your own if you want to do.
I love
play,
that.
Or
yeah.
they have a loaner one you can learn on. So a lot of fun things.
Okay, and I think festivals are fun too because it's not too hot outside just yet, so we can still enjoy the Arizona spring and everything that has to offer. We do have a First Alert Facebook page, so we have lots of our viewers that post to our Facebook page of the wildflowers. So you have some good suggestions of where people can go for that. We obviously had a very active fall, and so that is allowing for some of those wildflowers to really bloom. So what would be some of your suggestions for people to do that?
So absolutely. So one of my favorite places for wildflowers in Arizona is going to be visiting our state parks.
Okay.
And our state parks are great. They're well maintained. They all have trails that are defined that you can go check out. Now, one that's very popular is Picacho Peak State Park.
Okay.
And that's going to be about halfway between Phoenix and Tucson, right along the I-10. And it's pretty easy to find because Picacho Peak rises out of the desert floor. So it's pretty easy to find. And this one is a great one for wildflower blooms. And they, you know, the colors are kind of like purple, gold, orange. And I know that all these flowers have names.
Yeah.
I don't know all of them. So
that's a task for someone else, right?
So somebody
You're not
else,
responsible for knowing all that.
tell us all the names.
Yes.
But I know the colors. And one of the cool things that our great colleagues at Arizona State Parks and Trails did is on their website for Picacho Peak State Park, they put a Bloomdar.
Cool.
Yeah. So they have a radar
give you the idea.
To give you an idea of where the bloom is at a given time.
Very cool.
And, you know, given that I travel a lot with my 6-year-old, I want to make sure if I'm telling her we're going to see something, that we make sure we see it.
You're going to see it. Yeah.
So the Bloomdar really helps out with that.
Okay, so we have Picacho, Catalina State Park.
Yeah,
that's
Catalina
a beautiful
State
one.
Park, Southern Arizona. Again, a perfect time to visit Southern Arizona. Catalina State Park is going to be on the northwest side of the Santa Catalina Mountains.
Okay.
And we like to share that one because, again, a great bevy of wildflowers are going to be there throughout March and April. There's a great trail there called the Sutherland Trail.
Okay.
And the Sutherland Trail is cool because about the first 2.5 miles of it, it's really a great way to see wildflowers on what I would call an easy to moderate trail.
Okay.
Now, if you're real hardcore, you can continue on the Sutherland Trail and see some spectacular views, but then you're kind of committing to more like 10 to 20 miles.
Oh, wow.
And so then it becomes a more difficult hike.
That's a full hike.
Yeah, that's a full hike. The views are amazing, of course.
Yeah.
But that's what you're going to get there.
Okay.
But the first 2.5 miles, a lot of people do, and then they turn off where it meets another trail.
Okay.
So that one's kind of a simple one, and really a great way to see wildflowers in Southern Arizona.
Yeah.
And you know, I like sharing that these desert parks have these wildflowers because I feel like it always reminds people that the Sonoran Desert is alive, you know, and that it's not just dunes and sand.
It's not just dirt out here in Arizona.
It's like go out and look, and you'll see you know, these great plants and animals and blooms. So Catalina State Park's another great one, and you know there are a number of parks that certainly have flowers. Alamo State Park is another one, which is in western Arizona. It's kind of in an area that's pretty remote. But it's by a lake, so that's a cool one.
Yeah.
Or Cattail Cove, which is right by Lake Havasu.
Yeah.
That's another cool one. Or even Lost Dutchman State Park.
Right here in the valley.
Right here in the valley, East Valley, Mesa, and who knows? Maybe you'll find the Lost Dutchman's gold. So
don't know.
You know, you never know.
Yeah. And I mean, I've explored more of the East Valley more recently, and it is so fun out there. There's a lot of history out there too. So that could be a good just day trip for people to head out there and catch some of the wildflowers still too.
For sure.
Desert Botanical Gardens here in Phoenix. A lot of people go here really mainly anytime, even through the winter or through the spring. But right now is a good time for families to go.
For sure. It's a good time for families. Desert Botanical Garden actually has desert plants from many deserts across the world. It's not just the Sonoran Desert. And, you know, they have 140 acres of all these trails. But why I included it in this list specifically is that they have a great exhibition right now that is real. It combines both technology and the natural world, and it's called Frame Rate Desert Pulse.
Okay.
So what's cool about this is these digital visual artists went and put out scanners at like 37 different locations around Arizona.
Okay.
And they scanned whatever they were looking at once a day for an entire year.
Wow.
So 365 scans. And then once they took those scans, they put them all together and they made these big 3D boards that are placed throughout Desert Botanical Garden. And it shows you an aspect of life in the desert that you may not be aware of on a day-to-day basis.
Wow, very unique.
Yeah, and the cool thing is they have like a saguaro cactus, right? And you look at a saguaro cactus and you're like, I'm sure it grows. I know it grows,
Sure.
but I'm not really seeing that, right?
Right.
And if you watch what they put together for this, you can see not only the saguaro bloom, but you can see it swell when
Wow.
it fills up with water because, right, that's what it does,
Yeah.
right? It's a great store of water.
Right.
And so it really gives you an insight into life in the desert. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of natural things, but it's not just natural things. There's also like buildings being built and stuff. So it gives you an idea of
Sure.
life in the desert. And, you know, one thing Desert Botanical Garden does really well is bring in unique exhibitions. You know,
Yeah.
they've done the Choluli glass exhibits.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like they're always really pushing the envelope of what a botanical garden
Yeah.
can do. And the thing you can't miss on this is they have a theater there, of course, and they
Yes.
have 20 screens for this exhibit
Very
where they're
cool.
showing you life in the desert popping all around you, and it's set to music also.
Very cool. It sounds like a big learning experience for not only kids, but also for adults too.
Definitely.
So that's a good option. I love
Yeah.
that. And that was my first time hearing about that. So
Okay,
I'm
there you
excited.
Go check out Frame Rate.
Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you for that. That was good
Uh-huh.
info there. This July 4th, America turns 250 years old. So Arizona decided, let's step in and let's kind of create something to go along with this. What is it that you guys are offering for people to find ways to explore the state?
So, great question. And of course, we're turning 250 years old. And what we created with the Arizona America 250 Commission in Arizona is a digital passport that's called the AZ America 250 Passport.
Okay.
And the really cool thing about this is we decided, you know what, we're just going to go for the gold and we're going to put 250 things to do or places to visit on it. And we're like, well, how are we going to decide what should go on this pass? So what we did is we put it out to Arizonans.
Okay.
And we said, tell us what your favorite places are. Tell us if your family or friends come into town, where do you take them? Yeah, where do you take them? What is yours? You know, because everybody loves to experience a place like a local.
Yes.
And so we're like, let's get some local vibe in this.
Yeah, I
and
love
so
that.
we got a great response. And so there is literally 250 things on this pass.
Wow.
And the cool thing about it is it's free from us for people to use. It's
Okay.
digital. You sign up for it. It only takes a couple minutes. And it just gets sent to your phone via text message. And there's a map in it. So say you're somewhere in Arizona and you're like, oh, I wonder what's around me.
Oh, super helpful.
You can bring it up and it'll show you the things that are around wherever you are. You can also look through, because 250 things is a lot to go through.
That's a lot.
You can also look at it by category as well, if you
Okay.
have a certain type of thing you want to do.
Sure.
Yeah, and it really, I think it really covers the state pretty well.
I was going to say, I feel like 250 sounds like so many things, but
Uh-huh.
I'm already thinking of like multiple things on the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing that I haven't done that you were going to talk about was the neon sign park in
Yes.
Casa Grande. So
Yes.
what is that?
So the Casa Grande Neon Sign Park is on our passport. And I really like this because it feels like a hidden gem to me. And so the story is that there's this park in Casa Grande where they have all these old-timey neon signs.
Okay.
And they go on every night, and you can go check them out. But the story about them is that before there was an I-10 or an I-8, there was Highway 80. And Highway
Okay.
80 went through southern Arizona, and it was part of the Transcontinental Highway, so it was heavily traveled. I kind of think of it as like the Route 66 of southern Arizona,
Sure.
right? And so people traveled on this road to get across Arizona, and there was a little spur off of that highway that actually went through Casa Grande.
Okay.
And so these neon signs were along that part of the road.
Very cool.
And so, fortunately somebody collected them and said, hey, like, let's preserve this part of history. And so now these signs go on every night at the Casa Grande Neon Park.
Very
and
cool.
And you can check them out and you can kind of feel part of Arizona history.
That's what I love too, is sometimes you see something and you just think, oh, that's so pretty, or oh, that looks so cool. But in Arizona, I feel like there's a lot of history behind a lot of the things that we see out there.
Oh, yeah. And I was going to say, if you're looking for things to do in Arizona, I mean, this is also the Route 66 centennial year.
Yep.
And so, I mean, that's a great time to revisit historic Route 66 or, a place like, Holbrook or Winslow, towns that, you maybe know the name, but you haven't been in a while.
Sure.
I mean, there really is so many things to do here in Arizona, and we're lucky that we have such a diverse state.
And speaking of Route 66, standing on the corner of Winslow, Arizona, I've been there, and little did I know that you stand on the corner and that music is playing in the background.
Right.
That's something that's on this passport as well.
Exactly. That absolutely is. Winslow, of course, made famous by the song Take It Easy, and they fully embrace that. There is a park there where you can stand, you can get your picture, you can hear the music, you can see statues of both Glenn Frey, who wrote the song, but also there's a statue of the narrator of the song, so kind of the fictional character in the song. You can see that as well. And when you're in Winslow, if you want to really get in the vibe of Take It Easy, they recently unveiled a musical road in Winslow, which, when you drive the speed limit on that road, you drive over these little bumps, and they will sing the tune of Take It Easy.
How fun.
That you can hear when you're driving.
I love that.
And that's about 2 miles away from the famous Standing on the Corner Corner Park, which also has a giant Route 66 badge right on it as well.
Yeah.
Makes for some great pictures.
Okay, I love that one. Somewhere else that I absolutely love is Pine Strawberry. You go through Payson, you make your way up to the Pine area, and the lavender farm there. I was obsessed with it. I got some lavender chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, yeah.
Those were so good. They have lotion, scrubs, kind of like anything you can think of. That's also something that we're going to talk about on this passport.
Yep. On this pass is also the Pine Creek Canyon Lavender Farm. And speaking of 4th of July, that's kind of when the official birthday is. And July is a great time to visit the Pine Strawberry
Get out
area.
of the valley when
Get
it's
out of the valley,
too hot.
But also the lavender at the farm will be basically in full bloom in July. And so, and the great thing about the Pine Creek Canyon Lavender Farm is it is a little farmhouse. So kind of, as you might imagine, a picturesque farmhouse with lavender rolling and, this wooden house and little buildings. It's like, that's exactly what it is.
A field behind with animals roaming.
Yeah, and so we always recommend this one just because it's fun and you can get all those lavender products, and really just kind of experience something that I would say maybe is a little unexpected about Arizona, that, we grow things and we have lavender farms and a lot of fun things to do. And again, that is just a smidgen of the things that are on this passport. That
250.
I know we got 247 left to go.
I mean, those were great suggestions. The 3 of those, I love that. I have to check out the Neon Sign Park. That's something I didn't even know of.
Yeah, there you go, right?
I feel like there's a lot people can learn with this. And is it going to be available for forever, or how long will that pass be available for?
So that's actually a good question. So it is available right now. And we're planning on keeping it available to download and use at least through the end of this year.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of see, because if a lot of people, love it and use it, then that would kind of give us an incentive to keep it going and, keep it available for people. And maybe even keep adding to it, because we can add more things to it.
Oh,
if we want to,
I'm sure there will be,
well.
Things maybe people didn't even think of, and then they want to throw that in. But I think it could be used as a cool, okay, let's make this a bucket list. Maybe we pick 20 of these things, and we want to do them before the end of the year or something like that. So I think that's a great idea that you guys came up with.
For sure.
Okay, well, Josh, this has been awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here, and hopefully we can enjoy all of these things before we are sweating in the middle of the summer, right?
Sweating, jumping in the pool.
Yes. Hiding from the heat. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, Josh.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on our Sonoran Sky podcast.